Now on 767 News, 60 families to be selected for new rent-to-own homes in the upcoming weeks. Ministry of Health focuses on 3 priority areas as a result of climate change, and Fire Department reports a record 97 bushfires for the month of May. In sports, PM Skerritt argues the pullout of Tyron Theophille from the Windies' current test match. Welcome everyone, I'm Alicia George and you're watching 767 News. Join me for the latest news and developments coming up after this break.
A test of character, a test of focus, a test of will, a test of resilience, a test of courage.
Dominica, it's on. West Indies versus Australia, June 3rd to 7th at Windsor Park.
Tell them that it's on.
Thanks for joining me on tonight's edition of 767 News. First up this news hour, 60 apartments will be made available within the Bath Estate and Emsall area now that the housing project is complete. On Wednesday, government officials invited media to the completed buildings, which comprise of 2- and 3-bedroom apartments, 36 apartments in Emsall and 24 in Bath Estate. Honorable Minister for Housing, Lands and Water Resource Management, Reginald Austrie, said the project represents government's thrust in providing decent and affordable housing to the people of Dominica through its Housing Revolution program.
We're hoping that within the next couple of weeks, we should be able to allocate those houses to the persons who qualify for them. As I've said before, we have 60 apartment buildings, 24 here and 36 in Emsall, but we have over 900 applications for those buildings. And so it's going to be a tedious task to decide on well, we have the selection criteria, but many people would fit the criteria. More than 60% would fit the criteria, so we're going to have a challenge in deciding or determining who actually benefits from these buildings.
Minister Austrie is hoping that the recipients of these apartment buildings will appreciate the initiative and maintain its upkeep, along with the assistance of a management committee which will be set up by the government.
An apartment building like that, where you have a number of people, the management of the compound has to be well done, well thought out, because you do not want it to run down. And if you're not careful and you don't take the necessary action, then you can have rapid deterioration of the facilities. So we have to put a management structure in place. We have to maintain the ambience and the aesthetics. They'll be called upon to landscape. They'll be called upon to beautify. They'll be called upon to keep it clean. And we'll keep monitoring it as we go along. And if we find anybody not in compliance with the conditions that are laid down, then the government would have to take appropriate action.
The intention for constructing the building was to facilitate single parents and persons working around the capital city, Roseau, in reducing high cost of rent using a rent-to-own strategy drafted by the government.
Well, there's a market value which is now being calculated as to how much in reality those buildings cost, and then the government will determine what value it now wants to place on it, which I'm hoping that I can convince Cabinet to go a little lower than the real market value if we need to capture the persons that we're targeting to place in those buildings. So there'll be a real market value, and then the government will then determine what value it wants to place on it, so we can now sell to the persons who will be receiving them.
Meanwhile, Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt said the number of applications received for acquisition of these homes speak to the vision of the government's Housing Revolution program.
This is an extraordinary task of determining all the 900. Clearly, I've been told about 60% of those who've applied, based on the draft criteria we have met those criteria. So one can appreciate that you have quite a number of people to choose from, just to reduce it to 60. But herein lies an opportunity, I believe, for the private sector. There are people who have made millions of dollars out of the country and out of the citizens of Dominica. And I believe that the government is more than willing to make lands available to the private sector in a joint partnership where they themselves would construct the apartments and sell to the public.
The apartments form part of an urban renewal project which included the construction of the Dominica State College and the new State House, and was undertaken by Chinese firm the Shanghai Construction Company through a soft loan from the People's Republic of China. Government is hoping to review the criteria for new homeowners as soon as Friday, June 5, 2015, when Cabinet convenes. And the Ministry of Health and Environment today, Wednesday, held a national stakeholders consultation focused on 3 priority areas, including food security and vector and waterborne diseases. Sylvester Saintville, Senior Environmental Health Officer with the Ministry of Health and Environment, told 767 News that the Health Vulnerability and Adaptation Assessment Consultation seeks to study these vulnerabilities in Dominica. Saintville said the purpose of the consultation is to gather information on what impact climate variability and climate change would have on these priority areas.
But last year we had a chikungunya outbreak, and we always have vector-borne diseases, dengue, fever, leptospirosis. So we're going to be discussing those 3 priority areas, looking at food and food security. As you know, we are having a drought now, what impact that is having on food, on the quality and the quantity of food that we have. We're also looking at water. Many other countries are being affected by this drought. In St. Lucia, for example, there is a water advisory, and people are being advised to conserve water. In Dominica, we do not have that problem presently, but we need to be cognizant of the fact that with continued climate variability, that may be a possibility in the future.
Following the consultation, Saintville said information gathered will be used to implement programs on climate adaptation and disseminated at a Climate Outlook Forum to be held in Dominica in November. Honorable Minister for Health and Environment, Kenneth Daru, who was present at the function on Wednesday, said in recent years the linkage between climate change and climate variability and its effect on health has been well documented. Minister Daru said Dominica is leading the way in CARICOM in terms of putting together a national consultation on these priority areas.
I am very elated as the Minister of Health and Environment that we can have this workshop here today. And of course looking forward to the recommendations coming from this workshop so we can see how we can put a national action plan in place. Of course, putting the plan in place would mean that right now we will have a formal document. Of course, this plan, of course, will have to be endorsed by Cabinet, etc. And we can now have a formal document which we can use to leverage activities where we can seek to decrease the effect of climate change on the public health sector.
The Health and Environment Minister said he is happy that the other sectors have come on board to engage in the issue of climate change as it impacts all facets of our society. He added this year promises to be a breakthrough year for international climate change negotiations, with the Conference of the Parties COP21 expected to take place in Paris from November 30th to December 11th. In other stories, Police Public Relations Officer ASP Claude Wicks has refuted allegations suggesting the police is doing nothing to investigate the death of a cottage woman. This allegation came from family members of the deceased, who are of the view that the perpetrator should have been criminally charged for the incident, which occurred on March 10, 2015 at 10:30 p.m. via a recent radio program.
You would remember that Pamela Romain, 40 years of a cottage, she was involved in a traffic collision where she was knocked down by a vehicle driven by Mr. Osborne Wallace. And that took place on Lago Portsmouth. She was moving from the western side of the road, from west to east along the public road, and then the collision took place. She was taken to the hospital at Portsmouth, and then moved to the Princess Margaret Hospital for further advanced treatment. And of course, that's on the March in the month of March. She succumbed on the 4th of May.
ASP Wicks said from the onset, the police began investigating the traffic collision. He said following the death of Romain, further investigations into the incident would eventually take place.
Of course, that is, the file would have to be completed. The man who was driving the vehicle, in this case Mr. Osborne Wallace, he would expect him to be interviewed and a file presented. That file will certainly get along to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, whereby instructions will be given to the police to take the necessary course of action by virtue of the directives that would be handed down. So I don't think that it probably is fair to say that the police has never done anything. Investigations can be very laborious, can be very painstaking. ASP
Wiggs said the public must remember that the police has to be able to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt before charging anyone.
Investigations must not be ad hoc, or what we call vai-ki-vai. It has to be done properly. It has to be done inside or within the procedures of the law, what the law dictates, you know, with respect to investigations. So we can allay the fears of the family of the victims that investigations have well been on, and there is no doubt that at the end of it, the directives coming from the relevant authority with regard to the investigations, I'm sure, will be followed.
The senior police officer said if there was a charge to be instituted against Wallace, it would be causing death by dangerous or reckless driving. However, this directive can only come from the Director of Public Prosecution following the completion of the police investigation. Up next, Fire Department reports a record 97 bushfires for the month of May, and WICB works to improve status of cricket in the region. More details when 767 News returns.
Play Daily 3 and get a chance to win daily cash from $20 to $100. For every $9 or more spent on Daily 3, you get a chance to win daily cash instantly. Up to $100 cash daily for 6 weeks. The more you spend, the more tickets you get, the better your chances of winning every day. Plus, there's a chance to win a refrigerator if you receive an entry form. Take a chance to win instant cash all day, all week for 6 weeks with Daily 3 Daily Cash promotion. Only from the Dominica National Lottery.
Get up to 50% off on selected items in the Quartz Red Dot Sale. With deals on furniture and electronics all across the store. You can't miss out. Just look for the Red Dots in store for great deals. It's happening this month end from Wednesday 20th to Wednesday May 27th. 7 days of super savings with deals priced to go. Offer applies to both cash and credit purchases. And you pay nothing down and nothing for 60 days. With credit purchases 24 months and over. So hurry on down and don't you dare miss this Quartz Red Dot Sale. Quartz, bringing value home.
Welcome back. President of the West Indies Cricket Board, WICB, Wycliffe Dave Cameron, said the board is working on improving the status of cricket in the region. He made the statement on Monday evening during a WICB town hall meeting held at the Fort Young Hotel.
We know, and you would have seen from some of the initiatives we've undertaken, we are changing. We ask for your patience, and we also ask for your support in ensuring that West Indies cricket is once again a dominant force in world cricket.
Cameron said the board has partnered with an organization to assist with players' mental skills development within the West Indies team. He noted they will also work on dispatching mental skills coaches throughout the Caribbean.
Because just dealing with your main team is not good enough. We have 6 franchises, and below that we have academies, etc. So it's important that they start to get that development and assistance from a younger age, not just before they get into the West Indies team. So we do believe that it is extremely important.
Cameron said the individuals who are passionate about the sport of cricket should get involved in the Dominica Cricket Association and various cricket academies.
When you're criticizing us, you're actually criticizing all of you. Because if you all are not participating at every level, then we can't be as strong as we need to be. So I just leave that with you, that the structure is us. And as much as we participate, and one thing I can tell you, we cannot fix anything from being outside of it.
The WICB president said the aim is to restore the public's confidence in the WICB, and this can only be done if they talk to the public. the fans, sponsors, and governments. The next stop for the public town hall meeting will be Guyana on July 22nd, with another carded for Trinidad on July 24th. And the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Services has reported 97 bushfires for the month of May and is continuing to battle with an increased number of fires during the 2015 dry season. Chief Fire Officer Josiah Dupuy spoke with 767 News about the unprecedented increase, a situation which was high on the agenda at the Caribbean Association of Fire Chiefs CAFC conference last week.
The situation in some islands would be different than in others, but predominantly what the dry spell that we are facing here in Dominica is something that is being experienced by several of the other islands, and therefore this also was part of the discussion. As a matter of fact, I must say that we are, to an extent, we are probably even in better condition than some of the other islands, because we still have a reasonable supply of water that is available to us. Not always where we want it, because we don't have the benefit of having the water exactly where the fire is, but essentially we have water that is available to us, and some of the islands do not have water as readily available as we do.
The fire chief said the department is grateful that this year's dry spell is not as prolonged as it could be, although the intensity of the spell has not lessened. Dupuy said despite challenges encountered, fire officers now have more experience as a result of all these fires.
Some of our challenges as it relates to the bush fire season are probably beyond the average fire officer himself, because he is actually operating within the confines of the tools that is assigned to him. He is operating within the confines of the amount of men that he gets to work with on a given shift. Notwithstanding, we learn on the job too. We have training, but we learn from the actual practice of going to fires.
Chief Fire Officer Dupuy believes that most of these fires are caused by human activity.
There are cases of what we call spontaneous combustion, meaning that fire ignites on their own. But the studies actually indicate that this occurrence is very, the percentage of these fires occurring that way is very, very low. So I am very confident that much of the fires that we see are actually started by individuals, whether it is carelessly or deliberately. And so I think that what we need to address first and foremost is human behavior.
Dupuy advises removal of matter, which encourages bushfires, cultivation of new vegetation, burning in small piles downwind, and ensuring that water is readily available when burning. Dupuy further referenced the Bush Fire Act, which speaks to the responsibility of a person who is burning.
We have not had a case where that act came into play, but the act does speak to the responsibility of the person who is burning, and that individual has a responsibility to inform his or her neighbor. The person who is burning is liable also to damages that would be incurred as a result of the fire that they started. And there is, of course, a penalty, including prison sentence and or a fine.
Dupuy encourages everyone to consider the environment in which they choose to burn and to take into consideration neighbors who live nearby. Moving along, Dominica is one of 13 CARICOM member states participating in the 2015 exercise Trade Winds, which began on Sunday, May 31st and will end in July. During the exercise, the military and security forces from Caribbean nations will work in collaboration with the United States, Canada, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Mexico, and the United Kingdom for maritime security and disaster response training at Camp Springfield in St. Kitts as part of Exercise Trade Winds 2015. This year's Exercise Trade Winds will be conducted in 3 phases. Phase 1 will include maritime and land operations, and it will take place in St. Kitts and Nevis through June 9th, while Phase 2 will include maritime and land operations, including U.S. Marines in Belize from June 15th to the 24th. Phase 3, a key leader seminar, will be conducted on July 14th to the 16th in Miami for key stakeholders and decision makers from the region. General John F. Kelly, commander of the United States Southern Command, said TradeWinds provides the opportunity to develop and strengthen partnerships and allows all the participants to collaborate together to ensure regional security. General Kelly stated, like the other countries participated in TradeWinds, the United States values this collaboration as well as the awareness and teamwork it cultivates. Other countries who are part of the exercise include Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. Participating regional organizations include the Regional Security System, Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, Caribbean Disaster Response Unit, CARICOM, and the Regional Intelligence Fusion Center. Exercise TradeWinds supports the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, a U.S. Department of State regional security partnership. And that's it for local news. The latest in sports is coming up next with Larry, so stay tuned.
Play Daily 3 and get a chance to win daily cash from $20 to $100. For every $9 or more spent on Daily 3, you get a chance to win daily cash instantly. Up to $100 cash daily for 6 weeks. The more you spend, the more tickets you get, the better your chances of winning every day. Plus, there's a chance to win a refrigerator if you receive an entry form. Take a chance to win instant cash all day, all week for 6 weeks with Daily 3 Daily Cash promotion. Only from the Dominica National Lottery.
Are you into keeping fit and maintaining a healthy lifestyle? Well, tell us about it in the Quartz Fitness Selfie Competition. Take a selfie while you work out and post it to our Facebook or Twitter pages at Quartz Dominica. Write a few lines about how you keep fit along with your picture and get a chance to win prizes each week. Your access word is #Quartz Fitness. Competition runs May 22nd to June 5th. So go ahead, keep fit and stay fit with Quartz, bringing value home.
A test of character, a test of focus, a test of will, a test of resilience, a test of courage.
Dominica, it's on. West Indies versus Australia, June 3rd to 7th at Windsor Park.
Tell them that it's on.
Good evening and welcome to 767 Sports. In tonight's coverage, we begin with football. Only one match was possible in the Dominica Football Association Sports Division Secondary Schoolgirl League on Tuesday, as the Portsmouth Secondary defeated the Pierre Charles Secondary 7-0 at the Bath Estate playing field. Donisha Xavier was the star of the show, scoring 4 times for Portsmouth Secondary. Amika Pierre, Jada Powell, and Melinda Andre scored 1 goal each. Portsmouth Secondary is the 3rd team to book their spot in the semi-final round. The other match between Goodwill Secondary and Wesley High School at Lindo Park did not take place. In cricket, Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has added his voice in solidarity with numerous cricket enthusiasts in speaking out against the non-inclusion of Dominican cricketer Tyrone Theophile from the West Indies squad for the Test series against Australia.
I don't agree with you, Vice President of the West Indies Cricket Board, when he says Tyrone Theophile time will come. Tyrone Theophile come should have been today. You know, we should be playing today, so that will come. You know, they bypass the guy too many times, and while I don't get involved in selection and so forth, that's a matter for them. That's why I can criticize them because I'm not part of the process. But it's unfortunate that Tyrone Theophile is not on. Here's the argument is that, well, we put him to play some a match against the Australians and so forth, and he scored a dark and he scored 20-something or so runs. But I mean, he scored 600-something runs in the tournament. And if you're using the original tournament as a basis for selection, you know, why are you shifting the goalposts?
He said it is unfortunate that Theophile was not selected for the squad after scoring the 2nd highest number of runs in the just concluded regional cricket tournament at an average of over 44 runs.
And they brought in somebody who never scored a century. Tyrone scored 2 centuries. You know, he's one of the best fielders you can find anywhere in the world.
Prime Minister Skerrit said he is banking on the promise of Vice President of the West Indies Cricket Board, Emmanuel Nanton, who said Tyrone's time will come. In basketball, In the first game played at the Masak Hardcourt on Saturday, May 30th, the Super Eagles claimed a commanding victory over the Steinman X-Men. The game started out very competitive until Super Eagles went on a 23-12 run in the second quarter. At the halfway, they led 40-31, however extended their lead to 22 by the end of the third quarter, leaving X-Men unable to recover from the huge deficit built up in the second and third quarters. They put up 22 points in the fourth quarter to Super Eagles 21, but ended up losing the game by 21 points. Final scores were X-Men 69, Super Eagles 90. Top performers for Super Eagles were Derrison Anthony, 26 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds and 2 steals. Nathan John Jules, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 6 steals and 3 assists. Lenin Paul, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist and 2 steals. Hendricks Hallsborough recorded a double-double with 10 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Top performers for X-Men were Peter Ricketts, who recorded a double-double with 14 points, 13 rebounds and 1 steal. Ted George, 15 points, 5 rebounds and 1 steal. Shamal Tong, 14 points, 2 rebounds and 2 steals. Davidson Tulo, 12 points, 4 rebounds and 4 steals. And in football, the Executive Committee of the Confederation of North Central America and the Caribbean Association Football, CONCACAF, on Tuesday took action to provisionally ban Enrique Sanz from participating in any CONCACAF-related activities pending the outcome of an ongoing investigation of the FIFA Ethics Committee. Sanz acted as the General Secretary of the Confederation until May 28, 2015, when he was placed on leave from his duties by the Executive Committee. Sanz has also been provisionally suspended from all football-related activities at the national and international levels by the decision of the chairman of the adjudicatory chamber of the FIFA Ethics Committee, pending a decision on allegations made against him. And that's it for tonight's sportscast. Tune in again tomorrow for more sports news.
That was Larry with the latest in sports. Now for a recap of tonight's headline stories. 60 families to be selected for new rent-to-own homes in the upcoming weeks. Ministry of Health focuses on 3 priority areas as a result of climate change, and Fire Department reports a record 97 bushfires for the month of May. In sports, PM Skerritt argues the pullout of Tyrone Theophile from Windy's current test match. And that's all the time we have for now. Until tomorrow, drop us an email at media@767news.dm, friend us on Facebook, and be sure to like our 767 News page. From all of us on the 767 News production team, I am Alicia George, wishing you a wonderful evening, and thanks for watching.